Right. Hey, welcome to Bourbon and Badges, the podcast, Loomis Fargo edition. It's Rodnator here with Slow and Dobie Dog, and one of the usual suspects is missing. What happened to Hound Dog?
Oh,
Technical
TDD.
difficulties?
Technical difficulties.
Not TDS. He doesn't have TDS.
No, we talked about Burger King so much last podcast. I'm pretty sure that's where he's at.
Talking about Burger King and your chicken. And
Hey, I'll tell you, David Dog, if I was you, I'd have showed up wearing a Burger King's crown tonight. I would have. Yeah, I'd have wore it.
I should have.
The fucking crown.
I didn't mean to cut you off pre-recording, but my record button wouldn't work. I had to get Rodnator to push some buttons tonight. Like he's good at that, though.
Starting to get, I definitely am going to push
some
buttons
at some point.
Yes, and I've always wanted to wear the producer hat. You know, I'm always trying to elbow my way in there.
Yeah.
So anyway, so Hound Dog is having some technical difficulties. So I have to admit, he left pissed off, says, I'm out of here. Just go on.
He pulled a buck on us. Old Buck used to always show up at the podcast, so I'm pissed off.
Yeah. No, I don't blame him, man, because sometimes these microphones we got, they won't cooperate. And it's not like it's very complicated. You plug the fuckers in one end and you plug it in the other, and it should work. But
it's like with mine, when I was having problems with mine, it was fine, and I went to cut it on. Yeah. It's like I had to get.
You could do seven
from Hewlett Packard come in and do it remotely.
7 shows in a row, you do fine. Then the 8th show, so I was like, "What the hell happened?"
Oh, like tonight, the my record button won't work.
That's like when you're working. Don't say that Q word.
Yeah.
Don't say that word.
But anyway, so today's the Loomis Fargo edition. We announced it on a short, and if anybody wants to comment on me doing a short from my fucking sauna, go right ahead.
I kind of want to do that. Look a little nasty, man. What you doing? It's like
I get done in the gym lifting, and I go in the sauna in the 150-degree heat for about an hour and sweat it out. And I was in there low, and I got nothing better to do. And, hey, Bourbon and Badges is kind of we're fucking weirdos anyway. So let me just do
like
it from
you
the
and 5
sauna.
guys running on butt naked, is it?
No, I was in there by myself and I had drawers on, or so I'll say.
We would have been in YouTube jail if that had been the case.
Yeah, exactly. If I would have panned down, saw the hairy boys,
little
saw the coin purse, saw the coin purse.
Speaking of low hanging fruit.
Anyway, so that was fun. I like doing shorts; they're funny. Anyway, so we're gonna do a little bit about the Loomis Fargo heist in 1997, guys, where a whole shitload of money got taken. They had made a whole lot of mistakes and got caught. And anyway, not to jump ahead, but it's quite a story.
It amazes me that they actually pulled it off.
Yeah, but you know that. Anyway, we'll talk about it in a minute. But it's amazing.
Yeah, so we're looking at this through a law enforcement perspective and put a little spin on it.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was pretty local.
It was a nationwide case that started in Charlotte, so it's right up our wheelhouse, you know.
Rod's jurisdiction, and
I was working. Yep,
spilled over into Gaston County where we were. Dobie Dog and I policed.
Yep, I remember the guy who was the lead investigator for the FBI worked out at my gym in Charlotte, and I used to talk to him about it a little bit. His first name is Mark. He was the lead investigator on it. So, yeah, he rode motorcycles and everything. So anyway.
And there was this guy I worked with that stole the money.
Yeah, you actually knew the fucker who started the whole thing. But anyway, we'll get back to that. Let's stay on track here and get to what are we drinking. Let's start with Slow. What do you got there, Slow?
I'm telling you, salute to Hound Dog not being here. Sweet wheat. He had it on the podcast a couple weeks ago, and I had a bottle, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to open up something new.
He likes that stuff.
I didn't open this up just a night's half gone. This is like 2 nights ago.
Oh, okay.
That's what I say too.
That's what I would say if I was an alcoholic.
1792.
How about you, Dobie Dog?
You are sober this time. You're not eating gummies.
At least your liberal neighbors didn't get you drunk again.
Well, they're all gone home, man. They're all vacationers. They're all gone home. Got the mountain this side of the mountain back to myself.
What you got, Dobie?
I have got my first Infinity bottle.
Oh, nice.
So it's all bourbon. It's no flavored. It's no flavored bourbon. It's all bourbon. Some of it's sweet. Some of it's, that kind of thing. But the cool thing, the reason I use this bottle, is from Heritage Distillery, and it's in honor of military working dogs.
Yeah, I see that.
We've had it on the show.
It's a nice
bottle. But it's also a good thing if you got somebody that that's canine officer or something. Great gift. It's a really good bourbon when it's there. Just a lot of the stuff on it is canine related, like how many years it was aged and stuff. But this is my first time opening my Infinity bottle.
You need to put a date on it, man, so you know the date you started it.
Yeah.
I do need to do that, don't I? I have it in a book. I think it started like in May, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
And I'm just doing the old BT.
Oh, can't go wrong with that.
Buffalo Trace.
Buffalo. I got 2 or 3 bottles of this, so I'll
Yeah, soon as you're poor, man. Yeah, man, good deal.
Prior to Hound Dog going MIA, he and I talked, and so I'm ordering me a hydrometer so I can check the proof on this thing.
Oh, good deal.
Hound Dog had his all worked out, and he was going to announce it, how his Infinity Bottle was.
Yeah, because he was checking the proof on it before the podcast.
In the pre-podcast meeting, yeah. I know what the proof is, but I'm going to hold it back because I'm going to let him announce it. It's his bottle.
Well, he's holding it back, all right.
He's holding it back. He's
probably not holding it back now.
But I'm telling you,
down.
I noticed last week, Double D missing. This week, Hound Dog missing. How big y'all's heads actually are.
Exactly right. I kind of like it because you get a good look at the big mugs.
They look like bobbleheads.
Probably putting it down at the moment.
Yeah.
He's trying to say screw this.
Oh, yeah.
All right, man. Loomis Fargo Heist, October 1997, $17.3 million taken.
Yeah, they call it the Hillbilly Heist for good reasons. So it started out as a dissatisfied employee, how things always start out. David Scott Gant didn't like his job. It sucked. He was a vault supervisor at Loomis. Dobie can speak to this here in a minute at Fargo because Dobie worked with him for a minute. But Gant was a Gulf War veteran, and he was earning about $8.15 an hour while working 75 to 80 hours a week. He felt underpaid and trapped in his job and also in a shitty marriage. So he had a lot of things going around in his head when he started talking to a high school friend. Isn't that right, guys? The Campbell guy?
Yeah, man. And the thing about it is, he don't come off very intelligent.
Well, no, because when he was stealing the money, he was on camera stealing the money. like you know what I mean?
He didn't know it though. He took 2 videotapes, but he didn't realize there's a third.
Exactly. But I mean, you're getting videotaped, and I don't know. Yeah, I just would feel,
watching the documentary on this and some of the stuff on it. Why would you take the tapes out after you steal the money? Why wouldn't you take the tapes out before you stole the money?
Before they even tape you. I don't know.
Yeah.
I would always be very.
I don't mean to jump ahead. Go ahead.
But I would always be really suspicious that there was a hidden tape that even employees didn't know about because of this very thing. But anyway, so he felt trapped in his job, and in the summer of 1997, he connected with Kelly Campbell, who was a former Loomis Fargo employee and his acquaintance, who introduced the idea of robbing the vault. So leave it to a woman to
girl get you in trouble.
I'll get you in trouble. So anyway, she introduced that idea. Campbell, who had recently just left the company, linked Gant up with her old high school friend, Steve Chambers. He's the other kind of main character here because he plays a big role from start to finish after the initial robbery, right? So he was a small-time criminal, had prior convictions, so he was already familiar to law enforcement. And he was also married to Michelle Chambers, and they became central figures in this plot with Gant, right? You want to say anything about Gant, Dobie? You kind of met the guy for a minute.
I met him. I mean, when I met him, I worked there at Wells Fargo, and anything that really stood out. I didn't have.
Were you in on this? Are you the guy who's got the missing $2 million? Son of a bitch. No, go ahead, Dobie.
Retirement.
Yeah.
Well, there went Hound Dog. I mean, slow.
That's okay. I look more handsome now than ever. Go ahead.
So anyway, yeah, I didn't have him pegged as like that. I mean, he was just like the employees that they had there. I mean, and I'm not trashing on Wells Fargo, but it wasn't like they were recruited. It wasn't like they were hiring to be for the FBI, right? But they had to have some kind of integrity. Right. And I'll tell you, I didn't think about this too, but there was another guy that worked there when I did. I'll tell you this later, but the whole story, but retired from CMPD right before I did.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you ever been, but I met him and he just didn't seem like anything weird. But what he says about the job is 100% spot on. I mean, it's a lot of stress, a lot of headache, a lot of hours.
Yeah.
No
well, listen,
overtime.
when you say 75 to 80 hours a week.
Well, I was working every bit of 65 myself.
That's a lot.
And that was just like riding on a truck. I mean, you're a supervisor.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, you and I both know about working off-duty jobs. You know,
Mhm.
you work your 40-hour week, right? And then you do like 2 or 3 off-duty jobs a week. You might be working another, 20 or 30 hours, but you're making $40 or $50 an hour. You're not making 8. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Hey,
they
Slow, how's it
weren't
going, buddy?
making overtime.
Yeah, man. Riverside sucks. Go ahead.
And if you
Al-
took off, you didn't get vacation or sick time or anything. And that was all the overtime you wanted. If you wanted to come in and work a Saturday and Sunday, it was there.
Yeah.
But that was part
Anyway,
of their problem. Their turnover was extremely high because of shit like that.
yeah.
And but it was I remember when they showed his picture, I'm like, I'll be damned.
Hey, David Dog, did I hear you say you worked with him for a while?
For a little bit. For
Yeah,
very
he just went through it.
FBI, open up!
Yeah.
I knew
Anyway,
that was coming.
getting back
Good
to the
timing.
story here. The group planned for Gant to execute the theft alone during a shift, loading cash into the company van and delivering it to the accomplices. So Gant was the front man. He's the one who had the keys to the castle. He went in there, and Gant loaded up the truck with as much money as he could. So much money, he had to leave $3.3 million behind because there was too much money and too much weight. But the plan was Gant would flee to Mexico after the heist with 50 grand, while the bulk of the money stayed with the Chambers, Michelle and the guy Steve, who would wire the funds to him as needed so he could live down there in Mexico away from all this shit till things cool down. I guess that's what they were thinking.
Yeah, or so they said they was going to do.
Right. They said they were going to do. Remember, no
to-
honor amongst thieves. Let's remember that while I proceed. So the proceeds would be split evenly once it was safe for Gant to return, ideally after a year or two, to avoid suspicion. I don't understand. So at this point, guys, let's pause for a second because the money's missing, and he, an employee, the day of the heist is now missing. How does one not say maybe Gant took the money?
Well, at first they're looking at the angle of the FBI was looking at the angle that he's maybe was abducted, forced to do
Right.
it, might be dead somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Coerced
That was
into
the
it.
plan.
Yeah, well, that ended up kind of being the plan. Let's not jump ahead.
Yeah,
Don't
what's
give
that?
it
What's
up.
that girl's name that befriend him that used to work with him?
I just mentioned her earlier. Her name was it Kelly Campbell?
Yeah,
Kelly Campbell,
she
yeah.
played him like a fiddle, man.
Played him like a flute.
Yeah.
Them women will do that to you. Anyway, so 50 grand, right? He's going to go to Mexico. He's going to chill out down there, and they're going to send him money each monthly installments of 25,000, if I remember right. But then they would split the proceeds after a couple of years. Blah blah blah. So they do the heist. That happens. There's a couple of other accomplices in here, guys. Guy named Eric Payne, who was a friend of the Chambers, who helped unload the money. Like certain people have just like little parts in this. Some people help unload the money. Some people help them launder the money. Some people help them hide the money, and so forth. And all those people ended up paying a price, though, because anybody who's helping is an accomplice, right? And it's a federal crime because it's a bank. So you do Fed time and FBI, so it's not good. Anyway, there was another guy named Scott Gant, another associate involved with the transfer, and later a guy named Michael McKinley, hired by the Chambers as a hitman to eliminate who? Gant, the one who went to Mexico. So they would after a while, they just said, "Fuck it, let's get rid of him. That's less money to split." And he's the one who masterminded it, and that's the one they're looking for anyway. So they figure, let's get rid of him in case he gets caught anyway.
While
He can't tell him
Mexico, nobody will think anything different.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Somebody took him out
murdered
there.
in Mexico.
Right. And then he can't tell him who else was involved, right? Because he's the only link to the heist because he stole it. He's the one they found on camera. Anyway, so they decided to let's. If you guys are good with that, we'll go to the actual execution of the heist. You good?
Yeah.
All right.
So what do you guys think about it so far as in law enforcement perspective, looking through law enforcement lens? Good idea, bad idea?
Terrible idea. Just because terrible idea. Gant's stealing the fucking money from where he works for however many years.
That's what I'm saying. I think he's kind of simple-minded, man. He's
There was a if I understand it correctly, there was an earlier Wells Fargo heist.
There was. It was not related though. They
thought the tight end was get down in Florida, Jacksonville, Florida.
Yeah.
That kind of like got it.
And you know where he took the money? The Asheville, North Carolina. They found it in a storage bin.
Oh, really?
Yeah, $18 million.
Wow. But this guy, the reason I say that this has failed to begin with, he's stealing the money on camera. Like you said, he thought he took the tapes. But regardless, say he took the tapes. Now the tapes are missing, Gant's missing, and the money's missing. Who are they looking for?
And you
Gant.
know they knew who was coming in and going to
Gant.
that building.
Yeah, they knew.
Oh,
it
yeah.
was
And
Gant.
he also took every key to the place.
Yeah. And the tapes are missing. So who took the money and the tapes? Gant. Anyway, so it was dumb to begin with. That's not even my law enforcement. That's my common sense. Fucking, I have like an IQ over 60.
He thinks he's going to have this girl that he's in love with, going to be with him down in Mexico for the rest of his life, and you can't touch her in Mexico. Just ask Trump sitting at
in Mexico.
those destroyers and aircraft carriers down there.
Listen, to tell you, they'll send the blackout unit down there to get you. You'll be hooded and tied up, and they'll send you back on a cargo plane. They'll take you back. But anyway, on the evening of October 4th, 1997, Gant carried out the plan during his regular shift. He sent the trainee guy who works with him on the regular home at 6 p.m., disabled 2 security cameras, but missed the third one that captured footage. So he disabled the cameras. He did, and took the tapes. But the third camera, he missed that one. Oops. And loaded approximately $17.3 million in cash, mostly in 20s.
Yeah, it's like
not even hundreds.
$11 million in 20s.
Golly.
Because when I worked there, we had to pick up money from the airport, from the Federal Reserve, and we'd come in stacks that are about 2 foot high and about 2 foot wide, which was like 2 stacks of bills, vacuum sealed.
Hey, the thing about it, too, is, man, none of this was traceable funds.
It was like bales of hay.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like it was just like, big bills. That's a lot of volume.
Yeah. Really.
It was 2,800 pounds of money.
They said due to the weight, the bulk of the currency, he left $3.3 million. He couldn't even take it with him.
Well, no, it was in the van. He got in the van. He just couldn't get it out of the van.
Yeah. Yeah. After they got to their location, he had to leave $3.3 million behind because it was,
All right. Another sidebar.
Go ahead.
The van was discovered by a guy cutting grass.
Right.
I'm cutting grass for a living. There's a van full of money.
I wouldn't be cutting grass for long. I don't think so. I'd have the hell with a fucking 401k. I got my retirement.
I would have reported an empty van.
Yeah. Not a thing. Maybe a couple 20 scattered around.
Yeah.
They took it all.
Make it look
They
like
took it all.
Make it look like they just dropped some.
Yeah.
But
so anyway,
I did look at it, and 17 that amount of money in today's currency is over $2 billion.
Oh no shit.
From 1997 to now, that big a difference.
Yep. Over $2 billion.
Yeah. So they ended up at a warehouse at Reynolds and Reynolds printing business in northwest Charlotte, where Campbell, Steve Chambers, and Michelle, and Payne and Gant, all the people I mentioned earlier, and possibly others, transferred the money into private vehicles. Gant took his $50,000, again the ringleader, not the ringleader, the dumb guy who stole it all, and abandoned his pickup truck, leaving his wedding ring inside to signify the marriage is over, and fled to Cozumel, Mexico, arriving the next day. So money's been gone, money's been taken and dispersed around. Van is going to be found. Gant's in Mexico. And here we go with the investigation begins. We good? All right. The heist
like
was
that, leaving your wedding band behind is not going to.
How do you transport? What is it? $25,000 he took to Mexico with him. How do you transport that without somebody seeing it?
How do you get across the border? Yeah, he might have coyoted it across. You know. Well,
you know how the movie portrayed as comedy, loosely based on the true story. He had pantyhose on. And he stuck it like all down in his head, like he had big old giant bubble butt.
Oh,
and two, I wonder too. Back then, that was all prior 9/11, and I never flew back then. But I wonder what the security was like at that point in comparison to now and post 9/11, post COVID, and all this stuff. I wonder if it was just a lot more security was a lot more lax.
Or did he drive across the border? And just thousands of cars go across the border and never get checked. Yep. Only a few get picked up. But anyway. The heist was discovered the next morning, October 5th, when Loomis Fargo employees couldn't access the vault and called the police. FBI quickly took over as the cash belonged to banks, making it a federal bank larceny. That's why the feds came in. Gant was the only prime suspect. He was the only one unaccounted for employee, and security footage showed him loading the van. 2 days later, October 7th, investigators found the abandoned van with a little over $3.3 million and Gant's truck at the warehouse. Could you imagine just being that guy, finding that money and just looking
Cutting
at
grass.
I got to say it again. And I'm cutting grass and I'm looking at like, wow.
Well, you say that. Yeah,
We'll say that guy's honest.
Well, the thing about it is, we say that jokingly, but
Unless there was 3.4 million in there, now there's only 3.3. You might not be honest.
Hey, exactly right.
We don't know what was
We don't fucking know. Yeah.
Yeah, we all say that jokingly. But how many times have three of us being involved in you come in some break in some large
trunk of a car, drug deal.
Yeah, and there's just tons of cash all around, and what we do, turn it in.
But dude, that warehouse. I mean, he just one stack could change his life.
Oh no,
and no one would know because no one knows how much Gant took.
Back then, that guy probably could have took $100,000 of that and paid his house off, and all his bills would be done.
Well, the in the video, it showed Gant just casual as he could be, loading up the van. He was not in a hurry, just very casual.
He ran that place at night. He ran that place. Anyway, so okay, let me touch base. Okay, in Mexico, Gant initially lived a lavishly. A luxury life in hotels and enjoying activities. As soon as he ran low on funds, though, everything changed. The Chambers wired only about $8,000 instead of the promised $25,000 monthly. They said so. It went from $25,000 to $8,000. So he's getting undercut again, man. It was $8.15 an hour at Loomis. Now it's only $8,000 a month from his own fucking friends.
What do you think though? You don't keep that guy happy. You got.
I think you would.
Well, you left $3 million behind, so you got $14 million in pocket. Come on, you can't spend all of it.
So Gant decided, shit, he's running low on money. He had to go and live kind of a simpler life. He grew a beard, mustache, long hair. After he saw some posters being put around, wanted for the heist. So back in the U.S., the conspirators ignored their low-profile agreement. So instead of laying low and saying, dude, we're not going to touch this money for a fucking year, or we're going to go to the casinos and launder it out and switch out the bill, they decided to go ahead and spend a little bit, I would say, guys. So Steve and Michelle Chambers moved from a mobile home to a $635,000 mansion in Kramer Mountain, bought a BMW Z3 with cash, and made an extravagant purchase of like a $600 cigar store Indian, the actual fucking statue.
There you go, yeah.
And a velvet Elvis painting. That's why it's called the Hillbilly Heist.
Can you say redneck?
Right fucking there. Yeah, and
for
Campbell.
Listeners who don't know, Kramer Woods is a very, very, still is a very affluent neighborhood.
Oh yeah, 600 back then. You know how much that house needed?
I looked that up too, Rod.
$2
that
million?
comes out to be over $1 million.
Yeah, it had to be over $1 million house now.
Yeah, so you're paying over $1 million cash for a house to today's standards.
Yep. Campbell, the other guy.
A little side note on that, and Steve, on the slow one I'm talking about. My understanding is factual. One of our former coworkers' in-laws bought that house.
Yeah, that's true.
After all their court and everything, they bought that house, and when they moved in, they said there was like giant giraffes and Belvedere literally still in there.
Mm-hmm.
And they were doctors, and they both were doctors, and they were able to afford that kind of house, but they bought it. That's that house.
Nice. Anyway, another dude, Campbell, one of the other guys involved, purchased a minivan in cash installments. Michelle's bank inquiry about deposits. She asked about how can I deposit money with limits without reporting to the government while using Loomis Fargo wrappers.
Yeah.
So here's a stack of money. What's wrapped around it to keep it all together rather than like a fucking rubber band? She left the Loomis Fargo wrappers on it that the bills came with from the fucking stolen.
Like the next morning. This was a significant enough time to where the whole United States knew this happened.
Yeah, but you don't use the Loomis Fargo wrappers.
Yeah, with that said, too, W Dog, you watch the documentary and you watch the movie and stuff. Well, not the movie, it's comedy, but you watch the documentary and you think this is over a period of years, but they break it down. It's like it's just 6 to 8 months.
Yeah,
they bought all this.
It's under a year. It's under a year. Yeah,
it's crazy.
Anyway, of course,
she made a comment that this is not drug money.
Right.
When she deposited, this is not drug money.
Of course. Yeah, and the lady probably, I think that's right. It's stolen bank money.
Yeah.
Anyway, this triggered a suspicious activity report to the FBI. No shit. So the FBI
That's what
now,
you call a clue.
yeah. So they got a clue. So the FBI's investigation gained traction from these spending sprees. Agents searched storage facilities and traced leads, including another recent Loomis Fargo heist, which Dobie mentioned earlier, in Jacksonville, Florida, March 1997. So it's unrelated, but Philip Noel Johnson did a heist in Jacksonville, Florida, but it was unrelated to the Loomis one in Charlotte.
Can we say Loomis has had an issue in 1997 with security?
The
Something
funny thing,
going on with
ironic
Loomis.
thing about that,
A lot of
the Gant guy,
unhappy employees.
the Gant guy, you know where he moved to after he got out of prison?
Florida.
Jacksonville, Florida.
Jacksonville, Florida. Yeah. You're skipping ahead, but yes, Jacksonville, Florida. That's the Where They Are Now segment of the show.
Sorry.
Go. Fuck. Where are they now? Chambers, paranoid about Gant, hired Michael McKinley for $10,000 to kill Gant in Mexico. But when McKinley got down there, he actually befriended Gant instead and didn't follow through. So McKinley went down to kill him, didn't follow through, and that's it for that. So Gant's still alive down there. This leads us to the arrests because all these breakthroughs, of course, is going to start leading to people. They're spending the money. They're drawing attention to themselves. Loomis Fargo rappers, high purchases, houses, all this. People can't prove where they got this money, and that's the problem. Of course, you live in a trailer, and all of a sudden you're living in a house that's $600,000.
Well, the thing about it too is on Kermer Mountain, it's gated community, so the feds had to give them a heads up about getting in there and getting out to do the surveillance, and they're doing heavy surveillance on this couple. That the mayor from Cramerton, where Kermer Mountain exactly is. Mm-hmm. If she lives there, she's questioning what's going on with all these people, strange people in strange vehicles on their neighborhood, low flying planes. And evidently, everyone but the bad guys picked up on what was going on.
Always the last one to know, the hillbillies, Anyway, the breakthrough came when the FBI traced a phone call from Gant in Mexico. So on March 1st, 1998, Mexican authorities coordinated with the FBI, arrested Gant in Playa del Carmen near Cancun. He only had $400 left, guys. He was running low. The next day, March 2nd, 1998, the FBI arrested Steve Chambers, Michelle Chambers, Kelly Campbell, Eric Payne, Scott Gant, and 2 others, including a relative, in the U.S. McKinley, the hitman, was also arrested later in Mexico. In total.
That Steve guy was very, very, I couldn't first word him before, friendly or good with his money. He bought both his sisters and his wife boobs. Oh, so he actually purchased a 6-pack.
And that
smart shopper.
Yeah.
To be, he was in Gaston County, North Carolina, so I understand why he probably did buy it for him.
I got $17 million. What's we need? Hey, you need boobs.
You know how the family tree goes in some of those places.
Straight up. No branches. No fucking branches. In total, the investigation led to the arrest of 24 people, 8 core conspirators, and 16 others, relatives, friends who helped them, who just touched it, didn't do much of shit, but enough. But it's feds, dude. So everybody gets a little piece of time. They did crimes like money laundering, safe deposit boxes, opened them up and stuff like that to hide money. Well, moving on down to the prosecutions and sentences. On March 12th, 1998, a Charlotte grand jury indicted the 8 main co-conspirators. They put them together, and a grand jury indicted them on charges of bank larceny and money laundering. The 16 others faced money laundering charges for helping to store or move the money and the funds. All but one defendant pleaded guilty to avoid harsher sentences. So all 23 out of 24 said, you got me, feds, I'll plead guilty, don't have mercy. One guy decided to go to court, and that was a fucking lawyer. The lawyer involved in this thing.
Jeff Guller out of Gaston County.
Yeah, he decided to try to fight it and go to court, and he lost.
So then he wasn't the attorney he thought he was.
No, he thought he could, yeah.
And Rod, and so y'all know this too. If the FBI comes knocking on your door and they want to ask you questions, FBI, open up! Yeah, they already know. They've been doing the surveillance. They've been doing the phone tap. They've been doing all that.
Well, that's the difference between.
They want to make sure if you'll tell the truth and help yourself.
That's the difference between an interview and an interrogation. Interview is questionatory. When you're actually doing the other, it's accusatory. So once they come down the door, they already know they already know the answers to the questions they're asking.
They have done so much surveillance.
Yeah, they do an interrogation. You already know the answers.
Like a good attorney, never ask a question they don't already know the answer to. Mm-hmm. You never ask a question you don't know the answer to.
And try to want to get to say no, I'm not guilty, and go to trial against them is not a smart decision.
No, not with the feds.
No,
but attorneys sometimes think they know better than everybody else, and they're the smartest people in the room. But anyway, so so they all pled. So David Gant, here's a little rundown of the types of sentences and the things they were looking at. David Gant pleaded guilty, sentenced to 7.5 years in federal prison, and fined $26,000. He only had 400, so he might be. I had to work that off. He served about 5 years, and then he was released in 2006. So that's not bad. Steve Chambers pleaded guilty, received the longest sentence of 11 years, 3 months, plus a fine of $3.5 million. Released in November 2006. So he's the one not only involved in the heist, but tried to hire a hitman to kill somebody. So I'm not sure what he pleaded guilty to exactly, but he got the longest sentence probably because of the latter. He was going to kill somebody. Michelle Chambers pleaded guilty, sentenced to 7 years and 8 months, including time for violating bond conditions. I guess afterwards, when she was bonded out or something, she did something.
What if they done the bond in cash?
Yeah, exactly. With a Loomis wrapper around it.
Don't put it past them. They did some stupid shit.
Yeah. And then Kelly Campbell, the one who started the whole thing and put the idea in Gant, right? Wasn't she the one in the beginning I told you about? Pleaded guilty, sentenced to nearly 6 years. Michael McKinley pleaded guilty to conspiracy and related charges, sentenced to about 4 years. That was going to be the hitman. Eric Payne and Scott Grant pleaded guilty. Each received sentences of around 3 to 5 years. And other accomplices and enablers, they have the 16 or so. Sentences range from probation for minor roles like safe deposit box and cosigners to several years for more involved parties. The sole defendant who went to trial, Steve Chambers, attorney Jeff Guller, charged with money laundering, was convicted and lost the case and sentenced to 8 years. So
how much? 8?
8. Now the thing is, now if he would have pleaded guilty, did they offer him 4? I don't know.
Oh, exactly right. They probably have a better deal.
Absolutely, yeah.
Save the taxpayer some money.
And too, Rod, a lot of people don't realize this, but when you get fed time, like on the state level, your sentence gets cut dramatically from the time you go in.
Oh, yeah.
But on a federal level, it does not get cut.
You do 90% of your...
You do like 90% of it, whereas like on the state level, you do maybe 50%.
Yeah. I've told this story. You remember things in your head from when you worked. I remember we did a search warrant. I got a guy out of a house and he was sitting on the front porch in cuffs, and I was asking him his information. And he had told me he just got released from prison. And I said, "What were you in prison for?" He said, "I killed a guy, manslaughter." I go, "Oh, okay. How much time did you do?" He said, 5 years. Like he got 15, but he only did 5.
And
as a guy who murdered somebody sitting on a porch right in front of me, he only did 5 years and he killed somebody.
I likewise. I stopped the guy one time. I can't remember what the initial stop was for, but it was up there near the Outback up there on New Hope Road in Gastonia. I stopped him and I ended up arresting him for something. I can't remember what it was. But and he said, "I hadn't been out of prison." How long? I said, "What have you been out of prison for? What'd you go to prison for?" "Murder." And slow know about it. Where the lawyer got murdered years ago in Gastonia?
Yeah, it doesn't ring a bell, not with me.
But anyway, there was a lawyer murdered years ago, and it was a big mess. But he had already got out of prison for murder.
Yeah, as a lawyer, so he probably got time served.
Yeah. So, exact same kind of thing.
Yeah. So put a little bow on this. Authorities recovered all but about $2 million of the stolen money. Which makes you think. I wonder where that's a lot of money.
Well, in the movie, which is a comedy, it shows them sinking it in some lake. But I'm telling you, when this hit the news, and
was
it
came
the landscaper?
Yeah.
When it hit the news and it came out, man, how many times on your shift you run around looking for blue barrels?
Yeah, really,
Especially if you're Cramerton police.
How about the landscaper guy bought a brand new 0-turn mower? Yeah. Oh my God, there it is right there. Anyway, the heist
new
is,
John Deere when you've been driving a Murray.
yeah. What happened? You were a push mower a minute ago, bitch. You know, the heist inspired the 2016 comedy film Masterminds. Is that the one you talk about, Slow?
Yeah, it's just really funny. I watched it
It's funny.
last
There's
night.
some truth to it. There is some truth in it.
Hey, well, you know, it says here Gant served as a consultant in the making of that movie, though he couldn't profit from it due to the IRS debts.
Oh,
So
hey, it paid off some debt too, man. That's good.
Yeah, but he couldn't receive any funds of it.
I guarantee you they put him up somewhere and helped him out.
Yeah, and as of recent reports, Gant, like we said, lives a life in Florida, working in construction. So he's they've so much time has passed. Everybody's moved on, dude. Everybody's moved on.
Yeah.
So I thought I get a little information on where are they now. If you want to hear that real quick.
No, that's interesting.
Yeah, but there's some of it's limited because you can imagine a lot of them want to just live a low. I mean, they try to stay out of the fucking spotlight because they were in it for so long. You didn't just get caught for a bank heist. You were on fucking TV nationwide.
National.
More than once.
Yeah, and in Mexico too with Gant down there. You know what I mean? I mean, you were everywhere.
Federales.
Yeah. So the main suspects in their current status, 97 Fargo heist led to, like I said, 24 individuals with 21 ultimately convicted, 8 directly involved, the main characters. The core conspirators, so to speak, where the information on their current whereabouts as of 2025 is limited. Most have maintained low profiles after serving their sentences. Many were released in the mid-2000s and have been subject to ongoing restitution and payments. That one dude, $3.3 million. How do you pay that fucker off?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's crazy. And there's still 2 million outstanding. But anyway, so for some updates, here we go. David Scott Gant, the vault supervisor who executed the theft, sentenced to 7.5 years in prison and fined $26,000 after pleading guilty to bank larceny and money laundering. He served about 5 years and was released in 2006. As of 2022, the most recent detailed report, Gant lives in Jacksonville, Florida, where that other heist happened.
Yeah.
I guess he might be rooming with that dude, with the other dude, you know, talking about heist days, where he works in construction. He describes himself as a normal guy who rides motorcycles and fishes. He is married with a teenage daughter, 15 years old, in 2022, which means he got married right after. And some girl was digging that shit.
Bring your dad to work today at the school.
Yeah. He says he expressed his regret for the crime, viewing it as a life lesson. Wow. That's a hell of a fucking lesson.
Well, how many times the new wife got him drunk, said, come on, you can tell me what money is. You can tell. Can you tell me?
On. That $2 million, you got that somewhere, don't you?
You know,
yeah. Oh, we could do it again. This time, just make sure you take all the
Our trailer could be used new paint. You get that money.
We could get us a double wide.
We might work our way up to a modular.
Yeah, he did. Again, he did consult on the Masterminds movie, which I'm going to look at now. It's kind of funny.
It's funny.
And it's funny, though, you know, he gets early probation because he's interviewed in prison and is asking if you had a chance, you do it again. He says, well, I'm paying my debt. I got caught paying my debt. Yeah, I'd do it again.
No shit. Did he say that?
Yeah, they still parole him.
Damn. Talk about not
hire. What's on your job resume?
Yeah,
he's applying at another instead of Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo instead. You know, I got a lot of experience from Loomis.
I can work it. I know how to work the vault.
I was a vault supervisor. I could slide right in.
Maybe get a job some financial institute. You know, I took $8 an hour, turned it into $17 million.
Turned it into $17.3 million. I'm a hell of an investor.
That's right.
Yeah. Then there's Steve Eugene Chambers, you know, the husband, the other guy who had some run-ins with the law even before this. He was the planner and the handler of the stolen money, former FBI informant, it says here. He pleaded guilty and received the longest sentence, 11 years, 3 months, plus a fine of $3.5 million. Released in November 2006 after serving his time. In a 2007 interview, he called himself a retired criminal. He's done. And in 2009, he told the Associated Press he was changed man. As of 2022, he was still paying restitution, having repaid only a fraction of his debt. No recent reports specify his current location or activities. So, yeah, he's going to be under that 3 point. Could you imagine owning that $3.5 million? That's like for life. I mean, you know, unless he gets a real good job. And how do you do that after being a convicted felon? I don't know.
And how's that work? If you're making modest income and you owe $3 million to the feds, they can only garnish so much a week, to still let you live.
That's what they do. They garnish it. They just garnish your rate. And it's going to be not going to be that high, so it's going to be forever.
My understanding is that he runs a gym in Gastonia.
I heard that too.
Everybody that I've ever heard
it,
said
or he had a gym at least. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so right there in Lowell, right outside of Gastonia.
It's I know the name. It's Ultimate Fitness is the one they say.
Oh, really?
That's true or not, I don't know.
Come work out here. You look like $1 million.
They but you go to the website. I've heard it, and I've talked to people that go there, and they claim that's him. I've never been in this. Right there at Lowell.
Double D, you seem to know an awful lot about this, buddy. To have worked there with that fella.
He did work there with him. Anyway, Michelle. Michelle
is that why you're in Alabama?
Steve Chambers' wife was involved in laundering and spending the money. She pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 7 years, 8 months in prison. Released in the mid-2000s, as of 2022, she had paid only $27,000 toward her restitution, with her case set to close in November 2024. No further details on her current. I wonder if they're still together, those two. They didn't say. Kelly Jane Campbell, the former Lewis employee and Gant's acquaintance, the one who said, hey, how about we rob this place? The one who started the whole thing. One of the key planners, pleaded guilty, sentenced to 6 years in prison, released in early 2000s. She was among those awaiting final sentencing details and early reports, but no recent information details her post-release life or location. As with others, she's likely owes ongoing restitution. Michael McKinley, Michael McKinley, the hitman, so to speak, who never went through with it. Hired as a hitman to eliminate Gant, but didn't follow through, pleaded guilty to conspiracy, money laundering, and related charges, sentenced 4 years, released in 2000s. He cooperated with authorities after his arrest. No updates on his current status either. Eric Payne, Steve Chambers' associate, helped him unload the truck during the initial robbery. Got 3 to 5 years, released in 2006. 2022, he paid $11,000 towards his $292,000 restitution debt and was scheduled for a court appearance regarding payments. I guess he wasn't making payments. No details on where he's living currently. Scott Gant, Kelly Campbell's then husband, assisted with money transfer, pleaded guilty in 1998 and agreed to cooperate with prosecutors, sentenced to 3 to 5 years, released in the early 2000s. No post information on him either. And last but not least, the attorney, Guller, Steve Chambers' attorney, convicted of money laundering. The only defendant to go to trial rather than plead guilty, sentenced 8 years and disbarred in 1999. He's fucked on that one. Released in the mid 2000s. No recent details on his status. I guess they're all laying low. You can understand because they're like pariahs now. You could just, if anybody knows it's you, I'm sure you hear shit. So I don't know. Then he said the remaining 16 individuals were mostly relatives and friends, and their charges were lesser roles with storing money in a safe deposit box or aiding in laundering. Sentences range from probation to a few years in prison, with all released by the late 2000s. So no specific current information exists for them. They weren't central figures, so nobody really paid attention to them.
So this whole thing just fades away to history.
Fades away to history, along with that $2 million that still hasn't been found.
I guess
it's probably been spent.
Well, that's what they say. But I think what I would think the feds would have done is put a dollar amount on about everything they bought and incorporate that into the amount of money missing, and still saying 2 point something missing.
Yeah, I think I just think they think that all the money they found, because you heard you saw the movie, right? In their garage it had barrels full of money, right? Like 50-gallon, big barrels full of money.
They found a bunch of money in the house when they searched it in drawers and different places. It's like that. It's just stuffed everywhere.
Yeah. Because you can't put it in the. Well, she tried to put it in the bank. That's what fucked her up. With the Loomis.
Well, they also bought labels. The Chambers also bought a furniture store downtown Gastonia.
Really? Which one did he buy?
Was it M&M, S&M, or something like that?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right downtown Gastonia, and I'm assuming it didn't allude to that, but I'm assuming that they would try to launder money through that.
Yeah.
But on the documentary that I watched, it showed there's a Fed actually inside there, just basically staking the place out. Overheard them talking about going down to Mexico and what they're planning on doing to
Gant.
Yeah. just openly
now,
talking
one
about it
thing
in front of customers.
Now, one thing that I had heard from
You like this bed and bath set? Yeah. Hey, we're gonna kill that motherfucker.
Yeah.
So anyway,
now there's one
what
thing I
color
heard
scheme
from,
were you looking for?
can't remember who I heard it from, but it was another law enforcement officer that was tied into the FBI. That supposedly the FBI got to Gant in Mexico, found where he was, and got to him and like, hey, you want to help yourself out? No, I'm not doing it. These people are trying to kill you. No, they're not. And they had tapped the phone and played him a recording like, this guy is on his way to kill you. And they played the recording. And that's when he said, I'm rolling. I'm snitching. Because they pointed out, they were able to point out that this guy is going to come here to kill you. He's on the plane now to kill you. And they played the recording of the phone when they tapped the phone and had the recording of the agreement of him coming to kill him.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw something on that too where he was getting really discouraged by them. He couldn't contact anybody at home, and they weren't sending him the money like they were supposed to. So he was feeling really. Think about that. So you're in Mexico. You're the head guy, right? You steal all this money. You give it to Steve Chambers. You get an initial 25 grand. You get it down there, but now you're getting 8, and you barely got any money, and they're not sending you money. You're not hearing anything from them. When you talk to them, they're short if they do. And you're sitting there in Mexico with your dick in your hand, like, what the fuck, you know?
And
meanwhile, they're up there living life high on the hog, right?
Oh, yeah.
And just and you got, you know.
Wonder at what point he realized he was played.
You know, too, initially, I think he went down there probably living pretty well off, thinking it's a resort. They're going to give me this money. I'm going to chill and have fun. But my understanding, when FBI finally got him and they arrested him, he was pretty much living in squalor. I mean, just like
he only had $400 left in his pocket. He's broke.
Yeah, you sound like that's a bad thing. I'd like to have $400 in my pocket.
Yeah, $400 ain't bad. I like that pocket full of.
Yeah, they said he was just living off of just squalor, just this, because they had pretty much, like you said, kind of pretty much abandoned him.
Yeah,
he didn't know when his next check was coming.
How pissed would you be? You stole $17 fucking million and you can't even get, 25 grand a month.
Your other ones just helped you load it and shit.
Yeah,
they're the ones all over there spending all the money, living in $1 million house.
And I stole it and just gave it to them.
Yeah,
just gave it to them and just said, "Hey, just make sure you send me money, okay?"
Dumbass.
Yeah, Jesus Louise.
But and I'm not knocking the FBI by no stretch, but that investigation was pretty much gift wrapped and handed to them because of the stupid stuff they did. I mean,
they didn't have to do a whole lot of digging.
No.
When you get a call from a bank saying there's a lady depositing $10,000 bundles in Loomis Fargo wrappers, just thought we'd let you know.
House with cash.
Yeah, we call that a clue.
We just thought we'd let you know. Might not have anything to do with the heist that just happened a month ago, but whatever.
You got video of him stealing it. Now he's gone.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was not. It didn't take a lot of investigation on that.
Now, what would have been nice is if somebody, think about that one guy who might break into the Chambers house before they get caught, goes in that garage, opens that bucket and sees all that money. Good Lord have mercy.
Realistically,
crime would pay at that point. Jesus.
What were they going to say? What were they going to report that? You can't report. Well,
no, they couldn't report the break-in.
Barrel stolen from my house.
It would go unreported.
Oh yeah,
and they wouldn't know who stole that money as long as the douchebag took it out of the Loomis Fargo wrappers and went and laundered it at a casino or something. You never would have got caught.
I don't know, man. I don't know about you guys, but I know of people in Gastonia filing. One prostitute won't file a report because John wouldn't pay her.
Oh, we've had that.
Yeah, another guy want to report somebody stealing his crack.
Yep.
I guess that's a larceny of both in it. Her and him both got larceny of crack.
Yeah,
I didn't think about that just now.
Yeah,
I've had them where the prostitute said they didn't pay me, they raped me. Well, I mean, I'm not
failure to pay.
I mean, don't get me wrong, but how much of that was just defrauding the innkeeper?
Yeah.
Or was
it's failure to pay.
Civil matter.
Yeah,
because he just decided not to pay. I mean, you don't know. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that that's what should happen, but you don't know in situations like that.
Well,
I just pulled this up. This is the most recent Loomis Robbery was in March 1999, was robbery from a semi-truck robbery, which apparently $2.3 million removed from a moving truck without the robber ever being identified.
Wow.
And I will tell you this too. When I worked there,
that's awesome.
they would, when I worked there,
It's a
I
moving
worked as
truck.
a guard. I'd go in, pick up the money, and somebody else would drive the truck. Their protocol and their standard procedure for the driver and the guard was if the guard is outside the vehicle and coming back with the money, and somebody goes to rob them, you are to drive off and leave, because they look as the money in the truck as being more valuable and than that person out there on the ground. That's their policy. Number two, I kind of alluded to this on a pre-podcast, but there was an incident where if people only knew how much money were in those trucks and how much security was there and not there, we went to the airport one day to pick up money that was coming in from the Federal Reserve to the Federal out of D.C. to the Federal Reserve. We had to take it to the Federal Reserve in Charlotte. So there was, I kid you, those stacks, they would come in like stacks, and they were basically like a bale, and they were like the width of $2 bills stacked high. And I remember blue vacuum wrapped. It was about 2 foot high by about the width of $2 bills later, stacks of them. And vacuum sealed, and we were literally throwing in there like bales of hay. And we sat in the back, 2 officers with a shotgun. And we weren't allowed to have our guns out on the tarmac because it was the planes. So once you got in there, you had to drive. And you had two guys in the back. And we were in there with $140-something million. And you're just sitting there and you kind of get numb to it of how much truly is there, because it's just, you literally were throwing them in there like bales of hay. And but the money that goes through there, people have no clue. And if somebody really wanted to have the balls and the knowledge to do that,
not take money on camera.
So double D. So how'd that work? In the shift, they ever search you guys or search you like your
we would
lunchbox?
come in and we'd have slips of paper, and it was what you signed out for the day and what you signed in, and you would take it into the vault. And what you checked out and what you brought in, you were supposed to add up, balance out.
No, what I'm saying is, when you go to leave for the end of the night, you got your little lunchbox with you.
Nothing like that.
They never wanted to know how much money you had on you. You came in like you used had $200 and 20s. They didn't want that there.
Nothing like that. You pretty much just like it was like back in the day, it was like carbon copies, slips, right? So I checked out so many boxes of quarters, so many boxes of nickels, and so many things of 20s, and I went to Coca-Cola and dropped those off, but in exchange, I got X number of boxes of quarters or X boxes of dimes, and you would have to, and periodically, like on my route, I'd have to go like halfway through the day and deposit it in the nation's bank.
How'd that work too? So you had a bag of quarters. Did a bag of quarters, say $500 worth of quarters, that weigh a certain thing and you weighed them out? Because you didn't count $500 in quarters.
They had a dollar amount on them for a full bag of quarters. Now that's if you got them from like a place like, for example, the first place I went to was Coca-Cola, and I'd have 2 handfuls of this bag coins, which was a pain in the butt.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, it says $500 on the bag, but how do you know there's really $500 worth of quarters in there?
You don't. When you get the quarters like that back then, they would look like what you think of in the old movies, and it's a white bag full of coins. But you would have some coins that you got like from the vault or from a bank, and you would basically be pre-boxes of quarters or dimes or nickels, and they were labeled because they had been counted and rolled. But you truly don't know.
I'll tell you a sidebar to that.
Things like we might go to Dillard's and pick up this plastic bag and have their money, and we would take that and deposit into Nation's Bank.
Sidebar of that is, I don't know if you guys follow NASCAR. Used to back in the 90s. Rusty Wallace, who was a driver for NASCAR, got fined by NASCAR. And I'm paraphrasing the amount of money. I think it was like $7,000 he got fined, and he paid it off in pennies. He had one of those.
I do remember that.
One of those arm things full of pennies pull up.
Yeah, he's pissed. So he paid it in pennies.
Paid in pennies.
Yeah, I do remember that. It's. I will say this: it was a shitty job. I mean, it was like busting your ass all day from start to go, and you would literally go through a drive-through and eat on the run. I mean, you did not have like a lunch break, and I I'm not condoning the robbery, but I can see where you want to get the hell out.
Well, now
Well, you could just quit and get a job somewhere else, though. There's that option too.
Correct.
Rather than trying to get fed time.
But I will say this: it was the shittiest job I've ever had.
I'll tell you,
and I worked at a sewer plant. So.
Talking to those guys back, in our day, the 90s, whatever it was, talking to some of those guys, just in general, they said those trucks are only like a level 2.
Yeah, they're not high.
As far as penetration bullets, like a vest, the walls are like just a level 2.
And I'll tell you this too: our Kevlar vest, it was like 1970s, 80s. I mean, it was like the heaviest Kevlar I've ever worn, which is Kevlar is what you make bulletproof vest out of. But you got a 38 revolver, and it was like some soft nose, just like cheap bullets. I'm like, I don't know if these things are going to work or not.
I don't think they want you using them.
No, they don't.
No.
But I will say this: they did make you run a qualification course.
Oh, really?
Nowhere near what we had, but it was like shoot 5 shots from here, shoot 5 shots.
Yeah, I don't think they wanted you to use a gun or chase people. I just think it was for show, like the wooden gun and the other guys. You ever see that cop movie?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
They only gave Will Ferrell a wooden gun and then a rape whistle.
Yeah.
Just blow it if you get in trouble. And a real cop will come with a gun.
Yes.
All right, guys, we're about 56 minutes into this, 57 minutes into it. So, what's your thoughts as far as law enforcement? How this whole thing happened and went down? Stupid, crazy, what?
I think I'll start. I think it was a softball. It was an underhand pitch, and they fucking hit it out of the park because they couldn't miss. I mean, they were just giving breadcrumbs, led around. Gant on tape taking the money.
It was a give me.
Trying to deposit money with Loomis Fargo wrappers on it, buying $600,000 houses from a trailer, the Elvis painting. Just think about every little bit they had. Just led. The bank actually reported to the FBI this lady's depositing money with Loomis Fargo wrappers.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a very solvable case.
I tell you what I gleaned from the documentary I watched was the feds knew Chambers involved in it. They knew Gant was involved in it. They just didn't know how they intertwined, and that's what actually took the longest was to tie those two people or those two sets of people together.
Oh, when you're building a case, it's one thing, but to round up the suspects is easy. But then finding out what happened and how it all fits together to tell it to a jury and to tell it to a grand jury, of course, that's why they needed Gant's help. That's why they tried to recruit him right away, and that's why he ended up talking. And Chambers too, right?
FBI delay was simply Gant was not readily accessible.
Yeah,
and it took a little. I mean, you could do stuff, but it wasn't like he was still over in Kramer Woods with the others. He was in Mexico. So
in the first part of the documentary,
a little time of leg work.
Mm-hmm. First part of the documentary was the feds were very nice and very soft-shoed and trying to say that Gant was too stupid to pull it off and get by with it. If you watch the documentary, and that's a good segue in there. Hey, we got a lot of this. I got a lot of this stuff off YouTube. The movie is hilarious, man. If you haven't seen it, you need to watch it. It's it's on all the paid apps, but it's really good movie. Like say the Gant was a what did he do? He tell him about the robbery or whatever for the movie. What do you call it?
A vault supervisor?
No, but he was a consultant on the movie. That's what it was.
Oh, a consultant on the movie. Yes.
Yeah, so a lot of things not paraphrase, but go hand in hand the movie and what really happened. But of course, they took the movie away a couple steps further, but it's really good and great documentary. And Double D, you need to find that out. I'll look up the name of it and make sure I shoot that to you after the podcast. But a lot of information out there, Ben. And any last things on it, guys?
No, I thought it was very interesting. I remember when it happened.
Very good topic. I'm glad y'all picked that. That was fun.
Rodden came with this one.
Yeah, it was cool going through it too back in the day.
It was back in our wheelhouse, and we had we policed through it. Of course, I wasn't directly involved in anything, but I remember all of it. And, all right, good.
Yeah, and I think we all agreed, and we've been talking about this for our listeners. Might be concentrating on some things like this. We like to do the crime stats, like to talk about local crime and so forth, and through the nation, but also specific stories. Like we did the serial killer stuff, and now Loomis Fargo, and this a lot of not great, but a lot of significant things happen in history and law enforcement, heists and murders and all that. And I don't know, it might be something good to concentrate on.
Well, I'll
each
tell you something.
show.
Tell you something else I like to see happen that hadn't happened yet. I like to see fellow officers from, we have listeners all over the place. We have more listeners than do viewers on YouTube. Don't let the YouTube numbers throw you off. We have, on the audio side, we're out of the friggin' park. But I'm really surprised. Like, hey, I'm Officer Jim with the, a 100-man department, and this is what happened to me. What do you guys think about it? We talk generically about it. No, don't mention names. Don't mention any police departments, and give our view on it. Because, like I said, we're unplugged, and we don't answer any administration.
There's a lot of little stories in law enforcement all over the country that we don't know about.
Yeah, I like to see more of that stuff happen. All right, guys, any last minute shout outs? That boys.
I got a quick little shout out to the Dahl family, DOL, Nina and Joe. They started following us from Alabama. Joe is a canine officer on the Arsenal.
Hey, Joe, welcome to the show, man.
Us pretty regular, and they were excited about this because they'd seen the movie, and I talked to him a little bit. They're really good people. Like I said, he is a canine officer at the Arsenal down here, and they go to my gym, and they're just super great people. And once they found out about it, they've been started following it and look forward to it every week. So
good deal. Nice. I'd like to give a shout out to Beulah Dean Community Center here in Mitchell County. I think I done the last podcast, and a couple donations actually coming in. They're doing a 5K run October 18th to raise money to support the community center. When the big storm hit, man, they were a central hub. That's where the FEMA came in. You get all the help you can get from there. They still run a food bank to this day for the people that need it, and they need money. They just need money to keep the doors open, man. If you need anything you do to support that 5K run in October, just get a hold of me through the text or whatever, through the podcast here, and I'll get you to other people. You can send some donations in, man. $5, $10, $5,000, $2.3 million if you got it out there.
Just have it laying around.
Yeah, just laying around.
Trying to
blue barrel.
trying to get rid of it.
They could use it.
And maybe it'd rank in lakes.
Yeah. And I'll give a shout out to Hound Dog, man. Hey, dude, I hope you get that shit straight, man. We missed you, brother. So
Hound Dog, who?
Absolutely.
I kind of like three. Look at like three amigos here.
Yeah, look how big our heads are.
Heads.
There's a little bit.
All right, guys, it was fun. See you next week.
Hey, as Hound Dog would say, let's drink about it. And it's been a Studio 77 production.
Hound Dog's pissed.